First off, Florida is looks like going to be the second state to officially ban their fluoride distribution in the municipal water system. As you know, Utah was the first to come online with banning fluoride distribution. And now we're seeing Florida step it up. It's passed their House. I think it has to work through their Senate and then ultimately end up on DeSantis's desk. So we shall see how this goes, but it certainly seems to have a fair amount of momentum. Now, there are quite a few other states that are also looking at it and municipalities throughout the U.S. So this is probably going to be an ongoing news topic that we'll be bringing to you pretty routinely. Another interesting opportunity for those of us who have stayed fairly engaged over the last 20 years of dentistry, you know that there are a lot of regulatory items out there on the docket that prohibit us from doing many things that you might be able to do in any other industry. For instance, we're not allowed as dentists to talk to other dentists about what they charge for their procedures. There is a law that prohibits us from being able to have open dialogue about that. Well, this might be our opportunity, everyone. The Anti-Competitive Regulations Task Force, brought to you by the Department of Justice, as well as the Reducing Anti-Competitive Barriers from the FTC, or Federal Trade Commission, both with a looming deadline of May 26th of 2025, are looking for your comment. So it could be anything that you perceive to be a restriction, regulatory issue that's locking you up and not allowing you to really achieve your full potential as a healthcare agent. They are specifically targeting housing, transportation, food, agriculture, and healthcare and energy as well. Those specific industries have a heavy focus for both the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission. I think this could be a fantastic opportunity for one to go back and say, hey, remember McCarran-Ferguson? Remember when you repealed that act? When do you think you might actually start putting it into policy? When might we actually start to see the advantages of you repealing that? And oh, hey, can we talk about some of these other anti-competitive regulations that have been put in by the insurance industries to not allow doctors to be able to discuss openly and fairly how they are being compensated in their communities? And let's be honest, honestly, the patient is the one that truly benefits from this, because as we know, if doctors know what other doctors are charging and want to be competitive in that free trade market, they will start to reduce fees to be competitive. It's just kind of the natural part of what happens. Or hold fees at a fair and reasonable rate that covers their expenses plus some amount of profit to be able to pay themselves a payroll, not in excess of whatever they feel like they have to charge to cover all their losses on the insurance side. I think there's a huge win for open dialogue. I really hope this takes hold. I really hope individuals will participate in this open comment period. Remember, this is with the DOJ and the FTC, so you have two opportunities to get your voice heard. Deadline is May 26th of 2025. Now, I know you may have seen that there's a lot of activity around two different compacts that are in existence today. In fact, we just showcased a podcast that we did with Bob D, who runs Dentistry in General, another private Facebook group just for dentists, talking about the two different compacts that are currently out there. Now, what's the compact? It's licensure portability. Originally was for the military spouses to allow them to be able to go from state to state without having to reset for licensure exams or jump through the myriad of hoops depending on the state that they were reassigned to. It was to make it easier for spouses to be married to military folks and move around as their deployments and assignments were changed. But it's sort of gotten a life of its own, as these things often do, and to open up the idea that dentists should have more freedom of movement, more like the medical model, where they can easily port their license from state to state. There are two current compacts in existence. One is the Dentist and Dental Hygienist Compact. That is the one that is backed by the ADA. That is currently being recognized in Nebraska, Arkansas, Colorado, Iowa, Maine, Minnesota, Ohio, Kansas, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, and Wisconsin, with 10 other states showing pending legislation to join the compact. There's a second compact called the Dental and Dental Hygiene Licensure Compact, and this is backed by the American Association of Dental Boards. Now, this compact currently has no states participating, but there are about 10 states that are currently looking at this particular compact. Now, the difference between the two is that the dental licensure compact that is being proposed by the American Dental Board has a few more requirements in order to make sure that these individuals moving from state to state are competent, that their transfer of disciplinary actions will happen, and they do mandate some type of hand skills exam where the dental hygiene compact, the original one backed by the ADA, does not require any of those items. So we do see a bit of this back and forth about what is better for the profession. Bob D, I think, argues that the one backed by the ADA is much more attractive to DSOs because they can move doctors from state to state, especially on states where you might have a office right across state lines without having to go through the arduous task of relicensure. I think there's still a lot of debate here to be had, but clearly the one that is backed by the ADA seems to have the momentum and already has a significant number of states signing on, with many more looking at opportunities to put it into place. So we shall see. Lastly, this one's really interesting, and I don't even know what the takeaway is. So we're just gonna, I do know what the takeaway is, and I'll tell you at the end, actually, as I reflect on this. So a dental patient has now filed lawsuit against a team, the dentist, his team of people that were overseeing the care of the patient for a gouged tongue. Now, we don't know the extent. No pictures were posted, which would have been really helpful for those of us that are dental nerds that would love to see this gouged tongue and just how bad was it. But in California, you can get away with a lot more. And there are a lot more laws, we'll just say, that really do work to the advantage of the consumer. So this individual, Mr. James Jordan, who's 73 at the time of the procedure, filed a lawsuit against the in the Superior Court of California, Ventura County, against a clinic, an unnamed doctor, and the unnamed individuals who were helping assistants, I would assume. The charges are as follows: medical battery, elder abuse, patient abandonment, negligent hiring and supervision, and infliction of emotional distress. Now, Mr. Jordan came to the clinic seeking care for a severe jaw pain because of an eroded tooth. There were a bunch of allegations about wait times, etc. Went to have an examination by the doctor. The doctor diagnosed it, presented an option. There's no documentation of informed consent, so the treatment began. Whether there was informed consent or not, we don't know. And then alleged that the dental assistant mishandled a dental instrument and caused injury to the tongue. Now, the interesting thing that California is sort of allowing in some of their laws is this now qualifies as a medical battery that relates to unconsented touching that causes significant harm. So I don't know, like, all I'm sitting there as a dentist, I'm putting myself in that situation, go, this really sucks. Like, this snowballed out from underneath them. They probably were really genuinely trying to do a service for somebody who was probably in a lot of pain, and it did not go well. And now there's like a myriad of regulations that are working in favor of the consumer as opposed to the dentist. I in this case, I just wish Godspeed for the dentist. I really hope that this works itself out because I don't believe the dentist meant harm to the patient. That's just me being totally unbiased. And I think in a highly regulatory state like California, this is the type of lawsuits that you have to be worried about. So Godspeed, Dr. Jane Doe. We're here praying for you. And with that, that's the news.